Welcome to the Resilient Mindset Podcast, an exciting new podcast by Resilience Queen, Justine Martin. Justine is the owner and founder of the Resilient Mindset, a division of the Justine Martin Corporation. Justine draws on her years of experience and knowledge consulting with clients to develop and sustain a positive mindset. Focused on igniting your passion, purpose and power, follow the Resilience Queen each week as she delves into the mind of her guests, exploring fascinating stories and inspiring journeys.
Today on Resilience Mindset, I've got two guests, Brian and Jamie. Brian is the owner and operator of Weapon Brand and Combat Elite Performance Academy and has had a career most could never imagine. Starting out as a US Marine, Brian commanded important roles in keeping America safe. Some of the positions Brian held were sniper, platoon sergeant, and routine recon forward operator. Following his Marine experience, Brian was employed by the state of Ohio as a hostage negotiator, violent fugitive task force specialist, and defensive training specialist. Later, the state of Ohio asked Brian to develop and train law enforcement agencies, as well as parole and correction departments in self-defense programs, including firearms, hand-to-hand combat, and de-escalation techniques. With him today is Jamie. She's the co-founder and CEO of Weapon Brand, an advertising veteran. She started her career in print media, moved on to an exciting career in radio, then in 2011 began her own advertising agency. After having years of advertising experience under her belt, Jamie was thrilled to take on this adventure with Weapon Brand. At Weapon Brand, she now gets to work with individuals, groups, and corporate clients, empowering them to keep themselves, their families, and their employees safe through confidence-building training such as self-defense, firearms, ride-sharing driver safety, active shooter response, and a dozen more specialty self-defense classes, each customized to their own needs of their client. Her favorite part of the job is working with clients with special needs through their adaptive training programs, where regardless of ability level, they can still bear their own weapon. Hi guys, welcome to the Resilience Mindset Podcast. How are you today, Jamie and Brian?
We are
Great.
wonderful.
Very good.
This is the first podcast I've done where there's been a couple of people talking, so it's going to be interesting.
Okay.
We'll try not to talk over each other, and I just wanted to show you, actually, Chris Hughes, who's one of our trainers with our company, actually was with Brian, and so he's joining him as well, so you've got three of us.
That's right. So welcome, guys. Let's get into it. What does resilience mean to you?
You know, for me, I think Brian has much more interesting stories than I do, being that he was in the military and in war zones and kind of a lot of his life experience. But that's not to say that we all haven't gone through something that required some resilience, right? And when Brian and I started this company, I was kind of going through some shifts in my career, thinking, what am I going to do? Because COVID had hit. And most of my customers were in California, and I don't know if over in Australia, I think they were locked down pretty good too. But in California, everything was majorly locked down, so a lot of my clients were greatly affected, and so my income was being reduced drastically. So when Brian came to Florida and we decided to start this company together, I had to kind of accept that my career that I've had since 2011 was kind of on the downturn, and that I needed to figure out something else to do with my life, or invest a lot of energy in revitalizing that career. And so luckily, with Brian and I starting this, I have a new lease on life, I guess, professionally, because this is just so gratifying and so much fun. And I get to work with my cousin, who we're also best friends. So that's very exciting. But, it takes a lot of resiliency to start over again. And also to be in an industry. Yeah. Also to be in an industry where, we're in the self-defense industry, and people They all may say that their safety is a priority for them, but where are they in their classes? If they carry a firearm, where are they in their firearms training classes? A lot of people don't sign up. And so we have to just be resilient and just continuing to spread the good word about self-defense and how important it is, and really get on people's radar when, they'd rather be doing other things, I guess.
Yeah. We got the state that I live in Victoria. We were the hardest hit in the whole country. And I think our longest lockdown, don't quote me on this, I think was 77 days that we were stuck inside. So it's been horrific. But it was really interesting to watch everyone's resilience through that period of time. I'm a cancer survivor, and I went through chemo in 2017, and I went into lockdown in 2017. So no one could come into my home if they were sick. I couldn't go out without wearing a mask. So I'd had my taste of it before COVID actually hit. And it was really interesting watching the whole population in one foul swoop cope with what cancer patients cope with every single day. And watching the whole of society try and get through that adversity and pull out their own resilience with it. And some people coped, relatively okay, and some people didn't cope at all over here. And suicide rates went higher, and even now people are still affected because of the anxiety of going out and potentially getting COVID. Because I don't know about you guys, but over here, our restrictions have all been lifted and we've gone back to normality, so to speak. But I have a little bit of a sore throat at the moment, and went out on Saturday night, was in a couple of venues that had lots and lots of people, and I'm like, oh God, I hope I haven't got it again, because I ended up in hospital when I had it at the beginning of last year. And so it's like, where's the rat tests? I've got a cupboard full of about 50 rat tests over here, and I'm like, where's a rat test? Up the nose again, redoing it. And it has brought out, a lot of different emotions for people over here. But so Brian, what's an adversity that you have faced, and how did you draw on your resilience to cope?
Well, Chris, I don't think you have enough time for about as many as I have. I can tell you that, but as many as those experiences that I've made it through and have had to be resilient through them, none of them are anywhere near in comparison to beating cancer. So, thankfully we're on here, and thankfully, you're there having us. But, we have close employees, close friends of ours that have also done the same. And we always throw them out there first and tell them, thank goodness, thank God that you're still here. So congratulations.
Yeah, I had three. I didn't just have one cancer at once. I had three primary cancers at the same time. So I had melanoma, lymphoma, and leukemia all at the same time. But anyway, I'm still here, and it's not about me. Let's talk about you.
Okay. Well, I could tell you, I've got plenty of them, but one that really sticks out, one of the most recent ones, other than COVID. I mean, we have a training academy 17 hours from where we are right now, actually in the state of Ohio. We're in Florida now, but in the state of Ohio, we have a training academy that, we made it through. We made it through COVID. We're still struggling from it, but we're pulling through with the help of a lot of different people that support us. But, that's one thing that's recently happened. But just to keep on track with what we're doing with Weapon Brand, I could tell you I wouldn't be here right now without this story. When I first resigned from the state of Ohio, I worked there for 21 years, and I literally had my dream job. I mean, I had a professor when I was in college ask me if I could wave a magic wand right now, and if you could have your dream job tomorrow, what would it be? I ended up having that job, and I loved it. They paid me a ridiculous amount of money and gave me a ridiculous amount of things to do exactly what I wanted to do, and I still kept telling myself there's got to be something more. I'm intended to do something more for people, and I ended up resigning from that position to open up a business that eventually was the vessel that led us to Weapon Brand. But I could tell you what, for 60 days straight, this is no exaggeration, this is a literal statement. For 60 days straight, I was denied every single day for something, whether it was a loan, whether it was an equipment lease, whether it was property, whether it was any kind of opportunity. I'm not exaggerating when I tell you, for 60 days straight, I was denied for something. And before that happened, I was so used to having the position that I had to where they gave me everything. Anything that I needed, I was provided. I worked my butt off to get to that position, but literally, if I just sent a request up the line, it would come back approved because they knew, okay, he's really doing something. This is really, we're going to get something out of this. Well, that wasn't the case when I went out on my own, and I worked for the state government. And when I finally resigned from doing that, like I said, 60 days straight, I got a denial. On the 61st day, I had an individual contact me completely out of the blue, and he said he was going to take a chance on me only because of his father being a United States Marine and knowing that I was a Marine. And he said somebody took a chance on him, and if there's anybody that he could trust in, it would be a United States Marine. So.
Would you like to read more about resilience from Justine Martin? Grab one of her co-authored books, Release the Shackles, Courage and Confidence, or Roar. All available online at justinemartin.com.au/shop.
So listeners, we had a little bit of a glitch with modern technology, and we're just going to get back into it now, and Juzzie's going to try and do her best to edit this all together. So if there's a bit of a glitch or we've just gone to an ad, you'll know that's why. So, Brian, now I can't even remember the question because, I have short-term memory issues. Jamie, do you want to say the question and then, Brian, you can answer it?
Sure.
She was just basically asking you what sort of adversity that you had experienced that required you to have some resiliency.
Yeah. So what I started to talk about was my experience with when I resigned from what I would consider my dream job and getting exactly what I wanted and exactly what I needed from the state government. I resigned doing that after 21 years, and I decided to open up my own business to create a vessel to get to where we are now. However, I was denied for 2 months straight, 60 days, literally 60 days straight. I was denied, and finally I had an individual, Ryan from Titan Funding, if he's ever listening. He reached out to me and said, his father was a United States Marine, and if there's anybody that he would take a risk with and then go out for, it would be me. So, and somebody in my position. So he did that, and that's where we are today. So, but I could tell you, for that 60 days, every single day of that 60 days, I thought to myself, I got to go back to what I was doing. I may have to give this up. I never did. Every single day I woke up, and man, it was probably one of the hardest times of my life, really, because there were also a lot of different things going on, but just business-wise, that was absolutely it was very difficult, and I'm thankful now that I was able to sustain and keep forcing myself through. So that's we're here where we are today.
So let's brush on that for a minute, Brian.
Yeah.
How did you force yourself through? People will want to know. Mm-hmm. How did you get up every morning and go and do it when you thought that you shouldn't have been doing it?
Well, I heard a long time ago that there was there's a difference between emotions and behavior. And, people, you're going to have emotions. You can't control emotions. However, you can control your own behavior. And, that's always stuck with me. I've seen memes about it and reels about it, but, that simple statement really.
It is. And that's, I say this all the time, that it is a choice. People say to me, right. Oh, how can you be so positive through everything? And it's like, because I choose to be. I don't
right.
have the energy to be negative.
Sure.
Negative to me is just a waste of energy.
Right.
Right. It's a proven fact that you use less muscles in your face to smile than what you do to frown. So that's less energy. Yeah. And you can't be cranky if you walk around with a smile on your face all day. So some great insight there into you, Brian. So what's been your biggest failure, guys, to date? And what resilience techniques did you use to get back up?
Failure. Go ahead.
Yeah, they're
Jay.
both thinking.
I think
I know.
we don't look at a lot of our life lessons as failures, but more as learning opportunities. There are things that we've done that were just absolutely horrific, which I'll share one that happened recently that still blows my mind. Our company offers firearms trainings. We do from very basic level introductory to firearms to very advanced for your most advanced firearm operators, SWAT teams, special teams, forces, whatever. And we did a gun show here in Florida thinking this is going to be a slam dunk for us. Now, our company is just over a year old. So, we're just experiencing a lot of things for the first time. We thought this is going to be a slam dunk. We're probably going to have to add more classes because we're going to have so many people interested. And that was the longest 8 hours of our entire life. What we found, and I don't know what the handgun laws or, any laws are in Australia about carrying a firearm.
Yeah, we're not allowed to have them.
No, not allowed. Well, we always say we're agnostic about whether you carry a firearm or not. We don't care. What we do care about is that if you do, that you're properly trained. And what we found at this gun show was that so many people who carry a firearm are not interested in getting the training to properly carry a firearm, to safely carry a firearm, to safely store, have it in their homes. They all think that because they have their concealed carry license, which allows you to take your handgun out and, carry it in public, that you don't need any more training. But really that license, for the most part, just tells you what the legalities are, where you can have it, where you can't have it. It doesn't teach you anything about how to actually use it safely. And so we were so depressed when we were there because we're like, wow, all of these people are carrying around a firearm and not one of them cares about getting any training for it. So that was super deflating. And so we just, realized we kind of have to change our messaging a little bit. And it's not those people that already have their concealed carry, but maybe it's the people who are just getting a firearm, don't have their concealed carry license yet, or the ones who are very highly experienced and understand the value of training. Because when you do use a firearm a lot, you understand that it's just not, going to the range once in a while. So...
Yeah.
So
over here, you can have a permit to have, I don't know, maybe a rifle, but the majority of people that do have those are on the farms. You have to show just cause as to why you want one over here. And, I mean, there's probably people walking around in society that carry them illegally, and you do hear about, that particular person was pulled over by the police and they had a weapon on them, but not very often over here. We had a very big mass shooting in Tasmania years and years and years ago, and our Prime Minister at the time did a big recall in, and thousands of guns were destroyed in one foul swoop. All these illegal weapons were destroyed, and we really haven't had any mass shootings since that particular point in time for it. But different cultures.
I always say the best day of my life is going to be when we never have to do another active shooter training again. Because we go into schools, we go to churches, we go to businesses and do active shooter training. And yes, we want people to be safe, but if we never had to do that training again because there wasn't a need for it, we could focus on other things. But
yeah, that's right. So guys, who are your role models in resilience?
I would say for me, my dad is a big role model for me. He worked 2 jobs as we were growing up so that he could provide for the family, as well as actually my dad was self-employed. My mom was self-employed. My brother was is self-employed. I'm self-employed. So they really taught us a lot about the value of hard work and the value of a dollar, and just never giving up. And my dad for sure, but also my mom, she actually owned two businesses, in the 70s and 80s when that wasn't really a common thing for women to own businesses. So
did my mum.
Yeah, we have so much.
Jamie and I off camera discovered that we've got quite a few similarities in our lives. So yeah, that's pretty cool. You're my twin. You're my twin from another set of parents on the other side of the world. And what about you, Brian? Do you have anyone that inspires you?
I'll take Jamie's lead here and keep it in the family, and I'll say one of my biggest role models would be my own mother. Just knowing her story, never realizing it really when I grew up until I became an adult and kind of looked back on how hard things really are. She had me when she was 16 years old,
wow.
A high school dropout, had my brother when she was 17 and a half years old, and ended up making her life a successful life. She ended up getting her education. She ended up having a couple of great jobs, one in particular where she was very successful, and now she's, living a great family life, has a great family, and probably one of the most, not probably, definitely the most positive people I've ever known, and she's an angel to me. So, to look at my mom as a role model, she'd probably be the number one, I'd say. I've got several I could probably think of, but especially throughout a military career and the career that I've had. But my mom from the very beginning, she's 16 years older than me and missed out on a lot, and she had a lot of hard decisions to make when I think I came into the world. But luckily I'm still here. And she didn't drop me off at a fire station somewhere, because I know she probably wanted to.
Well, that's right. You can only imagine the adversities that she faced as a 16-year-old.
Absolutely.
Pregnant.
Yeah. And even
I was 21 and by myself when I had my first one, and he's 30 this year, and I look at the adversities that I faced as having her and the support that I didn't have from a lot of people where I should have, and
right.
So your mum sounds very similar, and by the look of it, she's done a very good job, Brian. She must be very proud of you. She's done okay.
She if you told her that, she'd say, he's doing all right. She'd still want me to be humble. She wouldn't want my head to get too big.
A little bit of tough love goes a long way. That's what I say.
Oh, yeah. Oh, and she does give it. She gives a lot of love, but a lot of that love is tough. So.
Well, my son's actually on the podcast this season, so he's been on before you guys, so you'll have to listen to his story, because he's ex-military as well, and he was medically discharged, and he took $900 of his money, not knowing what he was going to do for his future, and he's built it into $1 million company in under 3 years.
Wow.
In under 3 years. Yeah, absolutely amazing. So,
what kind of company?
What was that, Jamie?
What kind of company does
he builds and races drones.
Oh, wow.
Cool.
Drones?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. He doesn't go up and take pretty pictures. They race, and they go around 200 kilometers an hour, and he's a national and international sporting champion. So in a couple of the different classes, because there's different size drones. So the one that he is very good at is the X class, which is massive. They're about at least 1 meter across, and they're the ones that go to
drone racing.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, so he's got his business is Rising Sun FPV, and Rising Sun being from the military, because the Australian Army have the Rising Sun badge on there. So he does a lot of mentoring and helping with ex-military that have gotten out and they don't know what they're going to do. So he was medically discharged, and at a young age, he spent nearly 9 years, I think, from memory, in the forces. And so the resilience that he needed to cope with or gain it's just been amazing. So, yeah, check out his story, guys, as well. But this is about him. This isn't about me. This is about you. And I'm sure my listeners would like to know a little bit more. How do you cope with pressure?
Oh, well,
Oh.
thank you.
Oh, I hit a nerve on this one, guys.
There's
man,
a
pressure.
lot of cursing, some
Awesome.
overeating,
That's the same as me.
some overeating, comfort food.
Yeah.
But luckily we have boxing on the beach classes every Wednesday morning and every Wednesday night. So once you put those gloves on, any pressure that you had going on, at least for that hour that you're boxing, is gone, and you feel a little bit better after hitting a few things. So
what about you, Brian? So swearing, overeating, and
Yeah. A little bit of swearing
too
here
as
and there.
well.
Well, I'll be honest with you. One of the best ways that I've found, and I never realized that it was as important as what it was the past few years, is having some. I mean, I have Chris next to me. So Chris is, he's our ops manager and is our lead trainer up at our training facility in Ohio, and still comes down to Florida and helps us out down here. And not only that, but he's a friend. So having people like him and having people that we have that help us out and support us, that takes that pressure off of us a little bit. And we can kind of spread it around, because I'm sure he feels it. He'd tell you that he feels it as well. But just having a good support and a good core group of people to have your back through these times, that's huge to let go of some of that pressure for us.
Yeah.
And do you think that it's also knowing when to ask for help? Quite often I'm a very strong woman, and that with thanks to my mum, and in all the trauma that I faced as a child, and I never really asked for help. Whereas nowadays, because I saw it as a weakness as well, I didn't want everyone to see how weak I was if I needed to ask for help. Whereas nowadays, when I'm under pressure, and pressure and MS don't go together, stress and MS don't go together. So I've learned I now have to ask for help. If there's something that I can't do, outsource it. I regularly see a counsellor. So I don't have somewhere to go and box and punch the shit out of something. I go and vent to a stranger. I pay a stranger to hear me vent, and that takes some of the stress and the pressure away. But I do weight train 3 days a week, and I know that I can feel like shit, absolute shit, when I walk in there and question, why am I here? My body's hurting everywhere. And I train with one of Victoria's strongest men, Big V, and I walk out of there a different woman. I'm clear-headed, I'm motivated. What had given me the shits before no longer was there, and I can start my day. So I do that on a Monday, Wednesday, and Friday mornings, and that's a good coping mechanism for me. I think everyone needs to find a coping mechanism. Maybe not overeating. I did that as well and ended up 125 kilos, which is, in you guys, it's over 200 pounds. I was like, I don't eat my feelings anymore. I've learned not to eat feelings, or I'd be back up there.
Well, we have to confess to something right now.
Oh.
We got to confess.
Is this a world first?
It is. So Chris and we're in a vehicle right now because, we had to meet a friend and a client.
You got donuts there, haven't you?
Well, very close. So we went to a place where Chris had a double cheeseburger that the bun were 2 grilled cheese sandwiches, and I had a double cheeseburger that the bun was 2 jelly donuts. So we said, heck with it. We're here.
Stop.
Listen, we did that literally just happened. I'm
coming to visit. I'm coming to visit. We don't have anything like that over here.
Come on, we'll take you. We got the place. We'll take you. We saw it on the menu.
Jam-ball donuts. Oh, they are my comfort food. So
you froze up. You're froze up, Chris.
I was a Weight Watchers leader for a long period of time, and I lost 46 kilos, so over 100 pounds. And I worked out, I read a book called Don't Eat Your Feelings, and I worked out that hot jam ball donuts, see, I quiver just thinking about them, were my comfort food, because my nana used to make them for me. She'd buy them and then have them and then heat them up in the oven for me to eat. And she's no longer with us. She left this side of the planet when I was about 17. And I know that when I'm feeling miserable, I'll want to eat a hot jam ball donut because it's like her arms are reaching around me. And so I know that. And then when I went on like Weight Watchers and that, I stopped eating donuts. But we'd walk past a Wendy's, which is, I don't know if you have Wendy's over there, Donut King, something like that. And I'd walk past there and I'd buy some for my kids and they'd be like, oh, we don't want them, Mum. And I'm like, I don't care, you're eating them. If I couldn't eat them, they were going to eat them. So I was actually force-feeding my children junk food so I could get pleasure out of them eating them. But I'm coming to visit to have a cheeseburger made in a donut. Oh, my God.
Listen, we both of us typically don't eat that way, but it was on the menu and we're under so much pressure. So Jamie, our boss, she puts us under a lot of pressure. So Chris and I had to eat our feelings today.
It helps a lot.
It helps. Chris, you've been very quiet so far. Sorry for ignoring you. I can only see like
good.
one eyeball of you. Just come into the middle a little bit more and we can actually then see your face. Oh, there he is. There he is. Nice to see you, Chris. Okay, so let's get back on track. How do we deviate from that?
I don't know, geez.
So we've kind of brushed on a little bit, but what are you doing to practice self-care besides eating junk food and personal wellness? So maybe Chris can answer this because he's been very quiet so far.
Yeah.
I mean, for me, my biggest self-care is my time in the gym, as you had mentioned, working off that pressure with weight training and doing some boxing training, things along those lines. That's honestly my biggest self-care. And then also when I get the time that I can just taking a little bit of a vacation away, taking some time like right now, I mean, we've been working, but I'm also not in the snow and 20-degree weather, which it is back home. So, taking a little bit of that time.
Change the scenery for you. Yeah.
Exactly. Change the scenery and to be in the sun and then just enjoying myself a little bit.
Changing your routine up as well. Like I'm going away in a month's time to meet my new grandson and he's already about 8 weeks old and I haven't met him and I've got to fly to far north Queensland and just that 5 days away is enough, that mini break away. I'll still work when I'm up there. You own 7 businesses. You can't walk away for 5 days without coming back to a shitstorm. So, I'll take my laptop wherever I go on holiday. But that break away definitely helps reset your mind and the clarity. And then, I come home and feet hit the ground and I'm running. Are you the same when you go back home, Chris? Are you, feet down back on the ground and you're refreshed and you're ready to go again?
Exactly.
Yeah, cool. Brian, what about you? Self-care, personal wellness, what do you do?
A lot of the same things. I mean, I'm 100 miles an hour pretty much every day, but I really try to make, I make it a priority to continue with my training, which helps the business as well, obviously, and not only that, but it keeps me in shape and doing things to, I notice when I kind of fall off the wagon a little bit and I eat things like double cheeseburger, jelly donut type sandwiches, it gets me, I feel it. I really do feel it physically and mentally. So, staying in the gym, doing things to be active and, on top of that, just me continuously trying every single day. I try to tell myself that, a few different things like who did we help today? What did I learn today and how did I make myself better? Those 3 things I consistently ask myself and if you could accomplish those 3 things, if you could have an answer for those 3 things every single day, in my eyes, I think you're you're continuing to make yourself better and more cared for by yourself.
Yeah, totally agree. Jamie, what about you?
I am a beach person. So when I want some self-care and personal time, I head to the beach or the pool. Like if there's sun, I'm there. I love, my boyfriend and I have a boat. So I love being on our boat. And, you know, a lot of times I'll just go, I put my phone away. I either read or just zone out, and kind of a salt air meditation is my happy place. So that's, I love
so we call that grounding.
Yeah.
So you're grounding yourself back. I've developed the 10 top tips, and fueling your mind and fueling your body and grounding are 3 of them. The 3 top things to building resilience. And if you're doing all that and you're in your routines and you've got hobbies and everything, it's so much easier then to get through the adversity that you're facing. So yeah, some great points.
Justine, I got a question for you, Justine. Is going out to get sushi in your top 10? Because that's something Jamie's not telling you. That I know for a fact sushi is part of Jamie's self-care.
Yeah, that's my happy place too.
You like sushi? What's your favorite sushi? Do you have different sushi over there than what we do here?
Oh, here we go.
My favorite is sea urchin, the uni.
Okay.
That's okay. Taste, but once you get past the shock, it's like beer. Like it doesn't taste good at first, but then you get used to it and you love it.
Beer tastes great at first. I don't know what you're on. Sea urchins. Okay.
Yeah.
I don't know about that one. I don't know. Mine's Chinese. Like my go-to is.
Okay.
And Chinese, well, I shouldn't eat Chinese because I always put on weight. But again, it's the last meal I can remember my family ever having together was Chinese.
Okay.
So that's more of a comfort thing. But the gym definitely for me, and I go for a walk. I do lots of walks. And I used to, when I had the shits, I'd house clean. I'd be like a tornado going through to try and get rid of that energy. I now have a cleaner, so I don't do that. I put my energy into something else.
When I'm stressed out, I'll clean, like, you know, and I don't do it for long. Normally maybe a half an hour, but it just like, it puts me in a different frame of mind. Like, okay, my house is now organized, so my brain can be more organized. So if I'm working from a dirty office, my kitchen's dirty, I feel like my head is going to explode. So,
well, one of the other 10 top tips is, decluttering, making sure that your house or your work environment is all decluttered, and even if it just means working at one drawer at a time. That was my dog barking in the background there.
That was Jamie's stomach growling. That was Jamie's stomach growling from that talking about sushi.
Brian. I'm coming to visit Jamie, not Brian. Oh, okay.
I thought she was hungry for sushi.
What's your favourite movie that features a person's inner strength to get up?
Good one.
Or a TV show? Don't all talk at once.
So,
got 3 of you there.
You know, I think that one of my favorite movies of all time is The Sound of Music. And then she, as a governess, like had to work really hard to get these kids to like her. And then, you know, the guy, I forget, the count or whatever, to accept her. And, you know, she did it through joy. She sang and taught them to love life and to enjoy life. And so I love that, you know, she kind of overcame the resistance and was able to power through and make an entire family.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then they left everything behind and restarted again.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian's is probably something like Rambo or something. I don't know.
Look,
it's not actually Rocky, is it?
No, but that is there's a certain part of that movie that is is pretty good. That gets you motivated to get up and keep going. However, my favorite movie is Step Brothers, which is it just makes me laugh every time I watch it. But I'd say my ultimate movie about resilience, in a sense, you probably have never even heard of it. It's called Lucky Number 11, actually, and it's the ultimate revenge is best served cold type of movie. So if you haven't seen it, check it out. It's pretty funny. It's a little bit of action, a little bit of drama. I cannot remember the actor's name. I could picture him now. He looks a little bit like Ashton Kutcher, but it's not Ashton Kutcher.
I'll have a look, and I've got every major streaming platform there is, so I'm sure I can find it.
Yeah, check
Chris,
it out.
What about you?
It's an interesting one.
So my favorite movie of all time is Top Gun.
Oh my God, I knew we could be friends.
I think we can pull that one in there. I mean, after the loss of Goose, you know, he gets it going back up again so he can go out and fly. Go and help take care of business. So,
yeah. I think I've seen that movie 100 times.
Same.
Yeah. And Maverick. Oh, yeah. And I'm not a big Tom Cruise. I'm not a big Tom Cruise fan. I have barely watched any of his other movies. But yes, Top Gun. Yes, especially the volleyball scene. But anyway, moving right along.
Yeah.
And Maverick as well. I mean, even Maverick, you know, the resilience that was in that movie.
Sure.
But I've just finished watching Schitt's Creek. And
funny.
Yeah, but the resilience in that movie with every single character that's in it was amazing to watch that. Yes, and funny. I like humour.
So funny.
There. Okay, so we'll start with Jamie. What's a quote that you live by?
I always say today seems like a good day to have a good day. And actually, so I like that one. And then I love, I learned this from one of my yoga teachers in LA, Larry Santiago. If you're listening, Larry, he used to say to be grateful for what you have and for what you don't. And that really stuck with me because, you know, people talk about being grateful for, you know, the blessings in their life, but also how about being grateful for the things that you don't have, and there's maybe a reason that you don't have them. So I love that.
Yeah, I like that one. Yeah, I really like that one. Brian?
Well, mine came from a close friend of mine who actually passed away about a year and a half ago, and I don't know how restrictive your podcast is on language, so I'll kind of clean it up.
We have no restriction. There's no restriction on language.
Well, I'll still clean it up slightly, and you'll get the picture. But it's pretty simple. It's wussies can't be heroes.
Okay, I can translate that one. Yeah.
And I will tell you, you'll hear me say every once in a while. Jamie hears it probably more than anybody, and Chris. You know, somebody will say to him, and I'll just say, different word, but don't be a wussy. Different letter. Yeah. Don't be a wussy.
Yeah. It starts with a P if you're trying to work it out. Okay.
You got it.
I hear that quite a bit.
All right, Chris, what's your quote that you live by?
So, I mean, this is, I guess, kind of cliche, but miss 100% of the shots you don't take.
Yeah.
I really like that one just for the fact that you could sit there and just wonder what if, or you could go out and do it.
Yeah. Yeah. So mine is time is the most precious commodity. You can't buy it, borrow it, reuse it, or sell it. So be careful on what you spend it on and who you spend it on.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome.
That's mine.
Like that.
That's my quote too.
Oh,
good.
Okay.
I love it.
Well,
I love it.
All right.
All right, moving right along. I'm going to skip some of these questions. What guides you to find purpose and direction in your life?
Brian,
I know James. What did you say, James?
I said, do you want to take that?
You say something, James? Yeah, Jamie hears me say this probably in every single close to every podcast, but my purpose is, and it's the whole reason I'm here doing this business now, is if you help people, the money will follow. So if you just make people your absolute focus, and making people better, then the money's going to follow. So Jamie hears me say that all the time. So that's my driving force, just to make sure that I have the capability and I've got the experience and the skill to make people better. So as long as I'm continuing to pass that on, somehow, some way, we're going to be rewarded.
That's great. Yeah. And Jamie, you're the same?
I've always been in a profession, I think, where I was helping people, whether it was through their business or now with the business that we have. And I 100% would not be doing this business that we currently have if it weren't for the emails, the telephone calls, and the text messages that come from almost every single client when they leave our classes about how we changed their lives, how it was the most impactful 2 hours of their life, how we're family now, how they didn't realize how much they didn't know about safety, and just the impact that we're making. That makes me keep going. If that wasn't happening and we were just out there teaching classes and making money, the long days wouldn't be worth it. But the connections that we make with
you probably still wouldn't be in business.
Yeah.
You probably still wouldn't be in business.
No, we would have.
Yeah.
We would have.
Just imagine the amount of lives that you guys are saving.
Yeah.
By doing what you're doing, and
that's the only thing
society as a whole. Yeah, you're making a huge difference. What about you, Chris?
Very similar to what Jamie said. It's the testimonials we hear from everybody that we train, just how much safer they feel, just the impact it's made on them in their lives. That's really a driving force.
That's fantastic.
Yeah.
All right. If you could go back to your 18-year-old former self, what's one piece of advice that you'd give yourself? Brian's laughing here already. It's going to be interesting, guys.
Don't hang out with Jamie. Just don't hang out.
Is he always so nasty?
I love her. That's my A1 from day one, Justine. She's one of the closest things to me, so she knows I'm messing with her there.
Yeah. What about you, Chris?
Ooh, that's a good one. I guess I would say don't hesitate and just go for it. So
my mum used to have a saying that said, "He who hesitates is lost."
Yep.
We'd be driving and she'd go, "That guy's hesitating, he's lost." So, and that's with life. If you are hesitating in something in life, you are lost.
Yep.
Yeah. Jamie?
Yeah. I would have said to start investing more money earlier on. Don't wait until you're, So we always think that we have time, and as you know, it's not guaranteed. So
no,
it's
definitely not.
Something like with MS that I think about, what if something happens and I can't work? How do I pay my bills? How do I take care of myself? And, had I listened to my parents when I was 18, I would be a millionaire by now and probably wouldn't be even worried about it. So that's definitely
same. But we didn't. And Jamie and I both have something in common with having MS. And when I was diagnosed with my MS, I was told I'd never work again. And so I experienced exactly what you just said. How was I going to make money? I was engaged to a guy at the time, and he was American actually. And he became my sole support in putting a roof over my head, putting food in my belly, putting clothes on my kids' back, all of it. And it was horrible. And that's been one of my driving forces. And my passion now is to create residual income that comes in, that if I'm having a bad day, it doesn't matter. that the money's still coming in, and that I have my businesses set up that they're not a job. So if I don't go in and work, it will still tick over, it'll still work. The whole thing will come together. So, yeah, totally understand where you're coming from there, Jamie. All right, so now we're going to... Yep, sorry.
Sorry, I was just saying I'm really interested in hearing more about your other businesses.
We'll have a chat off camera and talk about all of those. I've asked Jamie to be in a book that I'm putting together, so you'll have to hang on for that, audience. All right, what's a book that you'd recommend to my audience and why?
Brian reads a lot. Well, he listens to his audiobooks.
So even if you've listened to it.
Yeah, one great one is Extreme Ownership by Jocko Willink. That's a really good, especially anybody that's going to be any type of a leader in any form, whether it's a business, your job. Extreme Ownership, it really gives a good rendition of what he's gone through, which are really similar things that I went through, as a matter of fact, just in my life, just military based and working for in the law enforcement community, things of that nature, and always being looking for different strategies and a different mindset on leadership and owning what you've done and actually taking responsibility, so therefore you can make those things better. That book's excellent.
Oh, good. Chris?
Yeah.
I would say Chasing Excellence.
Who wrote that?
Ben Bergeron. He's a coach for CrossFit athletes.
Okay. Yeah.
So it discusses all about just remaining focused and working hard so that he can build champions.
I'll have to have a look at that. I've represented Australia in the last, when did I do it? 2016 was the last time I represented Australia in Olympic weightlifting as a masters lifter. And I took up Olympic weightlifting after I got MS. I know I'm not the most smartest person on the planet when it comes to that.
It's awesome.
But I've been doing weightlifting before CrossFit and before it was fashionable for females to go into a gym. Yeah, I started off doing tug of war nationally, pulling that rope. Yeah, all the wisecracks can just stop now before we go on any more of that. Jamie, what about you? I did have a really good T-shirt. I had a really good T-shirt that used to say, I love a good pull. Anyway, going on. Jamie, what's your favourite book?
I'm sad to say most of the books I read are not appropriate to be talking about with anyone other than maybe your partner.
Right, we are going to have a chat after this.
Brian has shoved some business books down my throat in the past a little bit, but one of them that, he was a little brash, but the Grant Cardone 10X, just, taking everything
Great
to
one.
the 10X.
So I'd recommend... There's a really good book, but you can watch the TED Talk or there is a snippet of it on YouTube, and that's Mel Robbins' 5-second rule.
Okay.
You heard of it?
Mm-mm.
Yeah.
All right.
Yep.
So actioning on 5 seconds. When you drop a piece of food on the floor, I don't know about in your country, but our country is like if it drops on the floor and you pick it up in 5 seconds, you can still eat it.
Yeah.
And this is about actioning yourself in that 5 seconds. So when the alarm clock goes off, are you the type of person that hits snooze and rolls back over for that 8-9 minutes, or hit the alarm clock, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, get out of bed? Have a brilliant idea, and we all have brilliant ideas. Do you action it, or do you think, I'll remember that later, and then down the track someone has developed what you've just thought of?
Yeah.
So actioning it is have that brilliant idea, write it down immediately, and we all carry a phone with us nowadays, so just keep it in the notes section and then action it.
Yeah.
So it's a really good one. And another book that I listen to lots of Audible as well, Brian, while I'm painting, multitasking there, doing that in one of my other businesses, is what is it? Can't Hurt Me by David Goggins.
Best book
Now,
out there right now.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He's actually in Australia at the moment. Listen to the
Wow.
Audible. Listen to the Audible
did,
rather than reading the
Yeah.
book, because I've got the book,
Yeah.
but the Audible, in between the chapters, the guy that does the voiceover in each chapter interviews him like a podcast in between each chapter, and they talk about the chapter, and it's brilliant.
You get a lot more out of it that way.
Yeah, you do. And I always listen to them at 1.5, 1.75 speed, because it's like, oh, can you just talk a bit faster, please?
Justine, have you listened to his or read his new one?
I've got it on my list to listen to. Is it good?
I just started it. Yeah, I just started it.
All right. When I finish it, Brian, I'm going to inbox you and we
Okay.
can compare notes
great.
on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just love listening and reading about other people's, inspiring stories and what the human brain is actually capable of doing. And, one of my mottos as well is that I don't give up, I modify. And my mum used to always say to me, there's no such word as can't.
Mm-hmm.
There is cannot, or I can, but can't. And so now I'll say yes to things and then go, all right, I'll work out how to do that.
Yeah.
Say yes and then work out how to do it. Not, I can't do that.
We could teach classes on just yes and figure it out later.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. One of our mottos is fake it till you make it, Justine. So we'll say yes to everything and figure it out. Figure it out.
I've got to stop saying yes to businesses. Seven's enough. I can't do it anymore. I can't do anymore. And that's not a false belief. I'm telling you now, I can't put on any more at this stage. This stage. And I always end up with at this stage. All right. Now I've got some really quick, fun, quirky questions for you. So what I might do is get Jamie, you answer them all first, and then we'll do Chris, then we'll do Brian. Okay? That gives you guys a little bit longer to think of your answers, okay?
Thank you.
I know how the male brain works, don't you worry. I can't multitask very well anymore, and I really feel for the male population. I know what it's like as a female that used to be able to do, a dozen different things at once, and 2 is my limit now, and then I don't do that very well. Thank you, MS, and having an acquired brain injury. All right. You ready, Jamie?
I'm ready.
If you won $10 million, what would you spend it on?
What would you spend it on, James? I'm curious.
I would probably quit my job and give some money to Brian to hire somebody to take my place.
Like that one. All right. Okay. Chris, what would you spend $10 million on?
Pay off some debts, help out some family with debts, and then probably save it a little bit and invest it in our businesses.
Yep. Brian.
This is easy, Justine. First, I got to tell you, nobody's replacing Jamie, so she's not going anywhere. Nobody could, but I've got the answer to your question, and I've thought about this so many times. If I won any amount of money that's pretty significant, I'm still going to go full go. I'm still running these businesses, especially Weapon Brand, because that's my dream. However, I would pay somebody, our crew, a crazy astronomical number, so they would never want to leave, never want to go anywhere else, and they would want to try to care for this business just as we do. So that's what I would do with money. Yep. So that way we're taking care of other people, and I'm still doing what I love, and Jamie doesn't have a choice because we will find her. She will come back to Weapon Brand.
Jamie, you could come to Australia.
Okay.
Have a spare bed.
You don't have to tell her twice. She'll be there.
If you could live anywhere in the world, where would it be?
Maui.
Yeah. Chris?
Somewhere cold.
Come to Australia.
I like the cold and the snow. So maybe Montana.
Okay. And Brian?
I've been all over the world, Justine, and where I am right now,
You haven't been to Australia yet.
Oh,
And we've just lost him, so we'll have a bit of a chat towards ourselves here, Jamie. Oh, no, they're back again. Here he is. You went out of us again, and you're back.
so Brian, where would you live?
And now we got no volume from them. Where would you live? Nope, they're still. We'll move on to the next question with you, Jamie, until the boys come back with us. What was your favourite subject in school?
I loved my psychology class, which is interesting because now Brian talks a lot about his business degree and how, everything that we've kind of learned, we've learned from real world experience, not so much school. But he always says that he tells people that if you're going to go to college and you want to run a business, get a psychology degree, because to run a business, you really need to know people and how to deal with people and how to read people. Yeah. So I enjoyed that class as well. I'm a definite extrovert, so I loved all my communications courses. There was one in particular that was called Gender and Communication, and it just kind of talked about the differences in males and females and how they communicate, and also culturally, intercultural communications. So.
Oh, good. Geez, they're having trouble. They're in and out here. It's funny because I loved music at school, absolutely loved it, and I wanted to be a professional musician and, a classical composer and conductor is what I wanted to be at school. And my least favourite subject, and I was in the bottom classes of it all, was English, and which is quite funny now considering that I own a publishing business. And I've co-authored 4 books, and my book's about to come out, and I wrote and illustrated a children's book last year. So, someone else's false belief there in that I was never going to amount to anything because of English was quite funny. Are you back with us, Brian?
We are.
Yay. It keeps dropping out, yeah.
Can you hear us?
We can, we can.
It keeps coming up video
the question the question was, what's your favourite subject at school?
Psychology was and psychology was also what I loved in college, as well as the few different little classes I took in high school. But that was actually my focus. Psychology was. I was going to be a criminal psychologist, actually, and it just really wasn't going anywhere, and I was kind of losing interest in it. But as far as one subject, just kind of knowing how the human mind works, that was a big interest of mine.
That's great. You still there with us?
We're here.
Yeah, cool. And Chris, what about you?
I always liked history and just learn about the things that led to where we are today. So that always interested me.
Cool. Right, now we're going to go into some very quick, fast, quirky questions. So I'll ask the question once, and then you guys just quickly answer after each other. Okay?
Okay.
Pineapple on pizza, yes or no?
Yes.
Yes.
Yay, we can be friends.
All
right. Tea, coffee, hot chocolate, wine, or beer?
Beer.
Hot chocolate.
Coffee.
That's a selection there. For me, it would be none of them because I'm allergic to all of them. I know. I'm histamine intolerant, so I'm allergic to nearly everything on the planet.
Oh, wow.
Thank you, MS, and all the disease-modifying therapy drugs and the cancer drugs and everything has just wrecked my immune system. So I do have the odd glass of wine and a bit of alcohol, but I've got to take antihistamines before it, so it kind of defeats the purpose. And then I feel sick for days afterwards. So, yeah. And no caffeine. I haven't had a cup of coffee in 31 years.
Wow.
And people are like, oh, how do you function, man? How do you get out of bed without having a cup of coffee? And I'm like, easily. easily.
Yeah.
Oh, I couldn't do that. Yeah, you could. Yeah, you could. All right, next question. What's your favourite food? We know what the boys' favourite foods are. Cheeseburgers. Jamie, what's your favourite food?
Sushi. Sushi.
Ah, yes. Sea urchin sushi. Yeah. Okay, we know that one. Chris, what's your favourite?
Chicken wings.
Okay, and Brian?
I just love the holiday meal: turkey, mashed potatoes, and corn with a little bit of gravy. That's my go-to for a favorite.
So would that be your Thanksgiving food? Is that what you're referring to?
Yeah, Thanksgiving.
Because we don't celebrate Thanksgiving over here.
But you can celebrate that meal every day of the week if you wanted to.
Well, turkey's not really big over here.
No?
I see, like you see it on TV, like American shows and lots of TikTok reels nowadays about, ground turkey or something. But that's really not that, it's not that big over here. Like if we went to a restaurant for dinner, turkey's not on the menu anywhere.
Yeah, well, it's really not on our menus too much either, unless it's the holidays, like Thanksgiving or Christmas.
Yeah, even then. Or you may get a roast on Christmas Day in a venue that serve turkey, but generally no.
Well, Justin, Jamie's going to have to go to Australia without me then.
We do have turkey. I can find you some turkey mince in the supermarket. It's just not high on the list. What's your favourite music?
I'm a country girl all the way from Keith Urban.
What was that, Jamie?
I said I'm a country girl all the way. Go Keith Urban.
I've seen Keith Urban. I've seen him in concert, and I grew up near Tamworth, which is Australia's country music capital. So I grew up with a lot of Australian country music artists, and I actually have one girlfriend who's on the charts at the moment, the country music charts over here. Her name's Rachel Gillett. So look up her music. She's going really, really well. I went to school with her. What about you, Brian?
Well, no other than Australia's own Parkway Drive.
You and my son would be so good friends. I didn't realise. Or was it Slipknot? I'm such a bad mother. My son, when he was about 14, said, Mum, I want to go see this band. And I went, all right, as long as you're home, by this time. And I'm pretty sure it might have been Slipknot. Could have been Papa.
It probably was. It probably. I actually have tickets to see Parkway Drive on the 18th here in Florida. They're coming from Australia, yeah.
Yeah, well, whichever one it was, they were hanging from the rafters. Not Zach, but someone else was there hanging from the rafters, and they stopped the show. And I'm such a bad mother.
I probably won't be on any rafter, but...
Chris, what about you?
I rotate between country, rock, and jazz. All depends on the mood.
That's an eclectic style. Yeah.
Culture.
Some of my favourite bands are Def Leppard, Guns N' Roses, Pink, Fleetwood Mac. Yeah, so thanks to my mum with a few of those. Okay, and my final question. You ready for this one? Don't laugh.
Do it.
All right. Does the toilet roll go forwards like a beard, or does it go backwards like a mullet?
Forward.
Let's go with Brian first.
Sorry.
Forwards, Jamie, you're with me.
You know what? As OCD as I am with most things, I don't care as long as the last person just puts another roll on. That's all I care about. I don't care how you put it on. Just put a roll on. Don't make me change it. So, and owning a business where we go through a lot of toilet paper, I'm so thankful when somebody else replaces it. So, Justine, any way you can get it off, that's how I like it.
What about you, Chris?
Forward.
Forward, yes. See, I knew we were all friends. I'm the type of person that if I go to someone's house and it's hanging like a mullet, I know I've got to change it.
You change it. Do you change it?
It's the wrong
I change it too. I change it too.
The patent says, have you ever looked up the patent for it? The patent for toilet paper is actually forwards. It is a beard.
Yes.
Okay.
There you
okay.
go. There you go. All right. So my last question, I know I said it was my last question, but what's one question that you wish that I'd asked that I didn't? Or did we cover everything?
I have a great question. How can you find Weapon Brand?
That's going to be my next ones, but okay, we'll do that now.
That's my business hat getting put on, Justine. That's all.
That's all right. Where can listeners find you online, guys, and how can they contact you?
We're at weaponbrand.com, 2 words, weaponbrand.com. We're on Facebook under Weapon Brand, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. So just type in Weapon Brand, be your own weapon, and you'll find us.
Awesome. That's great. And we'll put all that information in the bio, guys. So if you are listening or you're watching, just have a look at the description and it'll all be in there for you to contact Jamie, Brian, and Chris as well. Well, I'd like to thank you today for this awesome podcast. This goes down as one of the best, I think, even though we've had some technical difficulties in here. It's been a blast.
It's been fun, Justine. Thank you so much.
In one place to be able to record the podcast, but we're never in one place at the same time. We're normally racing from appointment to appointment to appointment. So sorry about that.
No, that's okay. I appreciate your time today, and we have gone a little bit over than what we normally do, but there are 3 of you, so I think we've condensed that down anyway. It was fun. So anyway, listeners, remember, until next time, stay resilient.
We hope you enjoyed the Resilience Mindset podcast. Remember to subscribe to the podcast to get your weekly fix listening to Resilience Queen Justine Martin. Follow Justine on social media at Resilience Mindset or log on to justinemartin.com.au. And until next time, remember, life doesn't get easier or more forgiving. We get stronger and more resilient.